Hey, yo. What do, Trev? Is this person online? They are online. Oh, got him. Hold on. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. What up, Morton? Oh, let's get some music going. What up, TK? Early. Oh. Hold on. Wait a minute. Oh, you like the tank top? Yeah, baby, gotta show off the guns. No. Mirror. He said, Mom, I'm on TV. What's going on, Shingoku? Hey, thank you for the 7 months, Boo Boo. I appreciate you.
You subscribe to a bad content creator.
Uh-oh.
You're a real one.
What up, Mac? Let's go, Mac Daddy. Sign of the horns.
G-A. Bloodless. Scream. That's awesome. All right. Let's try out Bloodless Scream. What do we do with this thing? Can it overpower? How do I figure that out? What is the best lucky hit chance skill we have? It's a Blood Wave build? Because here's the issue. Ranks to darkness skills will help if we can get a skill to be a darkness skill. We're doing lucky hit chance crit, so we can build into a crit skill. We would want it to be a darkness skill that can trigger a lot. It has a lucky hit chance to be able to restore resource. We do Sever? Sever with Reaping Lotus? Sever gets up to a pretty high lucky hit chance, especially with Reaping Lotus because it has so many damage instances. Then we can rock Reaves of the Empty Tomb and still get deals double damage on it. Okay, let's do some testing. Because people are telling me wild stuff, and we were able to prove it, that it does scale with attack speed. How? Jono say. Pero it does. So let's overwrite. Rename this one Minions. Also, I thought a very scary thing. What if Hand of Nas is bait and the best minion build is actually the original minion build? Yeah, project. How high can this build for what minions? Probably like 108 would be the top end. But I had a really scary idea. What if Hand of Nas was bait? Yeah, the mage build, 108. Thought there would be no stream today. I was able to get everything done. It does look like I will be handing an auto repair shop 5,500 USD. So, this is not a call for you to give me your money. You keep your money. We should all keep our money. The economy is fucked. But there are two ways that you could support my financial stability without giving me money that you have, because you shouldn't, because it's your money. One, it's watching the content. If you're hanging out on Twitch, it's just hanging out here. They show you ads, that sucks, but that generates money. That's just free. If you're watching on YouTube, if you could like the stream, if you could comment on it, that would help out a lot. It helps to show to more people means more ads. Do not give me your money, keep your money. That's your money that you might need for your car. The other thing is that there is something called a Twitch Prime. If you haven't already, if you have a Twitch Prime and you haven't given it to your favorite streamer yet, consider giving it to me, a poor person who wants it. A poor person who desperately needs it. But I already had people asking about it. I already had people talking about it. I had people generally sharing sentiments about what you could do. Literally just watching the content, liking a video, making sure you're subscribed on YouTube, sharing the link. That can all help. What is the most aspect for this build to get going? Service and sacrifice. And grasping veins. And now we test Bloodless Scream. We have a lot to test. We have to figure out how much we can get this thing to do. Because the only way that we could actually reach 200% attack speed is with a blood skill. So one of the thoughts that I had was, what if we make Bone Spear a blood skill, use that to trigger Rathmas to get the attack speed? We have to figure it out. So, let's just get this off of my skill bar right now. Let's respec, refund all of this. Confirm, refund all of this. Get rid of everything. And then let's get rid of all of this. Is Minion Necro the best for leveling? Yes. We can leave on boots. Excuse me. Some Lucky Hit Chance, some Reaper's Parasuit. So let's get skill assignment. Let's get a few more skills on here. So let's do all of that. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do... So, do you need good gear for unique mage for Necro to clear over pit 20?
You subscribe to a bad content creator. You're a real one.
Just pit 20? No, not at all. Grim, thank you very much for the gifted subs. Thank you very much. That's insane. Can we get some love for Grim in chat if you just got a gifted sub? You're probably at this point gifting subs to people who have literally never watched me.
You subscribe to a bad
thank you very
creator.
much. I appreciate that. 20 gifted subs is insane.
You're a real one.
That is the opposite of what I said.
So.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
You subscribe to a bad
That's
content
very,
creator.
very kind. Zoso, thank you very much
one.
for the 22 months, Boo Boo. I appreciate you. Who'd we get? Ananke? Kronisos? Aldveda? Yal von Riva. You got Cosmic Hawk, Razy Tazy, Tin Soldier, My Style, Ben, Namas, Orion, Sobo Blade. A name that I feel like if I said it would be offensive. Chuck Kawabunga, Pizza Supreme. Chuck Kawabunga and Pizza Supreme better be besties. Pevi, Hassar, Lord Dago, the 10th Plague, and Ice. Thank you very much, man. That's very kind. What's the thing with Bloodless Scream? Bloodless Scream is interesting in that the damage on it, the lucky hit chance to be able to deal damage, apparently scales with attack speed.
You subscribe to a bad content creator.
Which we have proven. And now we have to ask the question, why and what can we do with that? So, let's get over to here. And let's just start looking at what it means for the fact that it scales. Thank you, Jerome. How you doing, man? What's good, Grumpy? Don't understand. My wallet is in my hand. Well, go ahead and buy yourself something nice, please. We have to figure out if this can overpower.
So. You subscribe to a bad content creator. You're a real one.
There we go. Why is it such a bad chance? 40% chance.
You subscribe to a bad content creator.
Chance. So 4, it's like a 16, 18% chance.
You're a real one. So. You subscribe to a bad content creator.
Dayar, thank you very much for redeeming the
one.
darkness. The darkness has been redeemed. Hopefully the darkness will stay redeemed. Like your thoughts and opinions about a certain topic? Sure. Why am I doing different amounts of damage? Oh, it's when they are and are not frozen. Could I ever see it overpower? Can procs like this overpower? This seems to have a much lower proc rate than you would assume. And I have lucky hit chance bonus. Where do I have lucky hit chance? Oh, from my skill tree. Okay. What up, Cody? You're new here. Welcome on in, friend. What up, Sirach? How you doing? Stop Killing Games initiative, even though it doesn't directly affect you yet. Sorry if you've already been asked. Asking about the Stop Killing Games initiative. I don't know a lot about it, so let me look into it. Yeah, so Sirach, for the minions, the idea would be that yes, it would be lower damage, but you should see more proc significantly faster. For Mendeln would be the idea. So let me educate myself about the Stop Killing Games thing. Stop Killing Games. As the consumer movement started to challenge the legality of publishers destroying video games they have sold to customers, an increasing number of video games are sold effectively as goods with no stated expiration date, but designed to be completely unplayable as soon as support from the publisher ends. The practice is a form of planned obsolescence and is not only detrimental to customers, but makes preservation effectively impossible. Furthermore, legality of the practice is largely untested in many countries. Over the past year, we've successfully escalated complaints on this problem to consumer agencies in France, Germany, and Australia, and brought forth petitions for a new law on this problem to various countries. A list of the actions taken to date can be reviewed here. As of 2020, most consumer actions on this matter has concluded, and weighing decisions on it from several governments. However, there are a few remaining avenues left where people can participate if they are eligible. How are they doing? Increasing number of video games are designed to rely on a server. The publisher controls in order for the game to function. This acts as a lifeline to the game. Publisher decides to turn this off. It's essentially cutting off support to the game, making it completely inoperable for all customers. Companies that do this often intentionally prevent people from repairing the game, also by withholding vital components. Yeah. People care about it. While video games primarily are just for entertainment and not of much consequence, the practice of a seller destroying a product someone has already paid for represents a radical assault on consumer rights and even the concept of ownership itself. If this practice does not stop, it may be codified into law and spread to other products of more importance over time, such as agricultural equipment, educational products, medical devices. Foreign consumers maintain a basic level of rights so as to not be overrun by predatory practices. Additionally, video games are unique creative works. The concept of destroying every existing copy of a book song would be considered a cultural loss for society. A less recognized medium, video games still deserve to have basic protections against the complete and willful destruction of many of its works. Are there examples of this? What's going on, Himbo? The Necro team on Discord breaking down Shadow Blade procs events that having separate instances of different shadow damage procs are convinced that having separate instances of different shadow damage proc Shadow Blade faster. Yes, that's just how things work. Yes. But X-Falls? No, X-Falls is bad. So X-Falls doesn't actually trigger altogether that often because all of your lucky hit chance through damage over time abilities have very low lucky hit chance coefficients. So X-Falls doesn't really trigger that often at all. Diablo 4, LOL. Well, Diablo 4 hasn't shut down, so that's weird. What is, so I'm not exactly sure. So I get the general idea, right? Companies should not be able to knowingly stop providing servers for games that people have bought. Or rather, all games are not, so like Diablo 2 had peer-to-peer in addition to a live server which it provided, right? The idea is that more and more games are requiring you to connect to a server to be able to play the game, and there's nothing stopping them from just turning off the servers. They're not shutting down Diablo 4, Cody. Ignore that bad joke that person made. So the idea is that when people are developing games, if they're going to require logging into a server that they maintain to be able to play it in the first place, it has to be developed so that there is a way to continue to play the game even if those servers are shut down, right? That's the idea. And like right now, that is not a requirement. How does this work with people like the developer of Flappy Bird? Where that man had a moral hatred of the impact that his game has had on the world. He like legitimately believed that he was doing harm to the world by providing this game and wanted it to go away. Was Flappy Bird a paid game? Yes. So if you look into the history of Flappy Bird was a paid game. Flappy Bird is on phones if you have a phone that has Flappy Bird installed on it and your phone's software or operating system hasn't bricked it, you can technically continue to play the game, but it is not available in stores to buy. It is not like considered when operating systems are updated, stuff like that. The reason why I ask, so my only issue with the idea is we can say like, well, this won't impact indies, right? I get the idea. I like the idea of games that are not... So for everybody who's just sitting here while I just stare at this blank screen, I got asked about stop killing games. My understanding of the basic idea is that games which are created by companies that require you to log into a server to be able to play them can just have those servers shut down, and there are no laws protecting you from losing access to being able to play this game that you bought. If it isn't abundantly clear, I'm pretty pro-consumer. Pretty pro the people who pay for stuff. It wasn't a joke. I asked, what can I have an example of a game this has happened to? And you made the joke Diablo 4. That, I mean, it is just a joke. I'm trying to clarify for people that Diablo 4 is not shutting down, hence why we are having this conversation. I like that idea. That idea is a cool idea. Protecting your ability. So, like, too many industries don't have protections for your ability to, like, receive service, repair, and continue to maintain things that you have bought. And in addition to that, a lot of video games have just stopped existing, where there wasn't somebody who was like, I literally don't want people to play this. It's just game companies do not have any requirements to maintain them. And the idea is this can also set a precedent for other consumer relation empowering legislature, right? My only concern, because everything isn't black and white, right? That they can say whatever they want. They can say, nah, this literally will only hurt the bad guys and won't hurt the good guys. But that's just like not how that ends up working. Game studios go under all of the time. Getting a game off the ground is hard. People try to make MMOs from an indie from an indie background often. They're already facing huge financial issues. The idea that somebody wouldn't begin attempting to make a game because they won't be able to provide this protection could be a limiting factor. To your point, Cody, playing couch co-op, like, I don't know. I don't play couch co-op. I'm not going to speak to the experience that you have. So what does that indie developer do? Is this at a certain level of a company, at a certain level of concurrent members, at a certain price point? Is an always online game? Just a lot of games are. So like what happens? Do you get hit with fines? Imagine you have like a team of 10 people. You go to make the next World of Warcraft. You go under. You can't provide this thing. You're now hit with fines. Your dream is dead and you're financially ruined. Like, what does that mean? Like, what does that look like? Like, I am uneducated. I do not know what this is hoping to accomplish. What do I think about it? Yeah, we should continuously try to make it so that companies can't just rug pull us. I hope that anything that does go into the works doesn't disproportionately, like, negatively impact non-massive companies from being able to participate in the space. And that indie devs don't get fucked and people don't get financially ruined because they can't make their dream a reality. That's what I got. You know, one of the things that I would point to is that especially our age and older, so many of the games that you love and you point to as like peak of gaming or should inspire future generations was just like a group of people in a room one day. And like here's one of the other issues that I have. I want to make a game. It's going to be always online. That's like the only thing that makes sense for me. My company goes under. I now have to give away like the sole operation of my game to, like, I have to, but I made it. Like I made it. I made that thing. Somebody else gets to have it? It becomes open source? What if I get financial backing later on and I'm able to like create the second game, or I'm able to revive it? I've like lost the market of it? That sucks. So I would just want to have those exact things better defined for myself before I would have an opinion on it. That's it. But yeah, forcing companies to not just screw over consumers, Seems like a good idea. How am I getting different amounts of damage? How am I getting different procs? That's impossible. It is impossible for me to be getting different amounts of damage from this. $20K. Now that's only $20K. You're confused what the difference between Blight and Shadow Blight is? Blight seeks to do damage by casting the skill Blight and triggering Ebon Piercer bolts that scale off of Blight's damage. Shadow Blight is a key passive, which says that every 8 times that you deal shadow damage to a target, it triggers a damage instance. They will both use the skill Blight, but every Necromancer skill uses the skill Blight. But Shadow Blight is a key passive, Blight is a core skill. What up, Clunter? The initiative gets the ball rolling to have those issues addressed? Sure. I think it is very good for consumers to participate in the actions of advocacy and for bringing forward their concerns as consumers, and for regulations to be put in place which will weaken companies' abilities to screw consumers. Is one better than the other for builds? They're different. Shadow Blight will clear a higher level pit, but Shadow Blight is a build which requires you to ramp damage. So it is worse for speed farming. This guy isn't getting it. Who is not getting it? Who is the person not getting it? How are there 2 different damage numbers? Sorry for your slow for chat. You don't have to apologize. My whole job is answering questions. I'm just in a... So, what a lot of people don't know is the majority of the time, I'm masking a personality because I actually think like a fucking robot. With big spikes of emotion. So, when I'm in like a purely analytical setting, I stop masking. So I sound like an asshole. I know that. I think it does more good than harm. So I continue to utilize this strategy for communication because it's very precise. Is Hang Report bad for the Hand of Nas build? It is. Can we say they're macro spikes of emotion? Yes. You don't sound like an asshole. You are an asshole. Don't blow my cover, you dumb bitch. Glasses off and undershirt on. It is Dickball's hut where I'm at right now. And I don't call anybody dumb bitch. I just call himbo dumb bitch because they're my gay friend. And that's how gay men talk to each other. Why am I in the tank top? One, and by the way, I understand this is a generalized colloquialism. I understand nobody means harm by it. Wife beater is a pejorative against my ethnicity. Italian guys and Irish guys beat their wives. That's why it's called a wife beater. So I'm going to continue to call it a tank top, which is what it is. And if we could not say slurs against my people, that would be super chill. I'm trying to be nice about it because I know nobody is being malicious. Nobody means any harm. Nobody thinks I beat my wife. I don't even have a wife. But like, I would love for all of us to stop calling them wife beaters. That'd be super chill. Why do you recommend a scythe with HP affix instead of damage in your mage? Is it simply for survivability or are there other reasons? Why do I recommend maximum life? So without maximum life, you'll die. And your scythe is one of the few places where you can get it. And the GA additive damage that you'd get is a minuscule increase in damage output, and you just quite literally couldn't survive the hits that you need to in high enough pits. What am I working on? Bloodless Scream. Yeah. Does it freeze and do more? It can't. Well, it could. It shouldn't. So here's the thing. Your darkness skills chill enemies and deal bonus damage. The lucky hit chance proc is not a skill. It is an effect. Do you think it has merit? Maybe. I need a better tool, but they all suck. Oh, that's going to apply vulnerable though. Okay. Does the different amount of damage have anything to do with the number of corpses? It does not. I do not have any skills on. I do not have any sacrifices. I do not have any paragon. None of the passives here grant damage. The only passives that I have are Lucky Hit Chance, Reaper's Pursuit, which is just a generic damage multiplier, which is constant, and the ability to generate corpses, but I'm not modifying my damage output by utilizing any of these skills. I do need to turn off the vulnerable though. I guess I should turn off Prime Solar. When you run the Shadow Blight build, what does your skill rotation look like? New to me, so following Rennie's planner and it's not laid out. Well, one, you should check out my fully written build guide on Shadow Blight, because I explain all of this. I would highly recommend checking out my build guide, because one, it's me that you're asking for clarification from, and two, I've already done this work. But the general idea is that you want to be consuming corpses as often as possible. Against a single target, consuming corpses becomes a bit harder to do because you won't generate enough regardless of how much lucky hit chance you have. But Blight, due to a bug with the Ebon Piercer bolts, is able to trigger Hued Flesh. And Hued Flesh will generate corpses. So you use Blight to not only grant you a 20% damage multiplier, but to also generate corpses very quickly, and then you eat the corpses with Corpse Explosion. So basically, if you could just be eating corpses the whole time, you would, and in large packs of enemies, you generally can. But since you can't be doing that all of the time, you have to pepper in Blight. But please check out my build guide, where I explain all of this for the build that you want to play. It's on max roll. Is it the player variance thing? I turned off player variance. And it's consistently two different numbers. So something is making this happen. I just don't know what. And it's only with Decompose. That's a crit, which is fine. Okay. So we have 20k damage, which isn't actually 20k, it's some amount, but it's rounded. 20k damage. And we have to start testing attack speed because attack speed scales this for some reason. So for attack speed, we have 15 attack speed here. 15 attack speed. So I'm now doing 23. Okay. I should probably, well, I can't even get down to a lower number because I need the blood scream to be the thing that I trigger. So I go from 20k to 23k. 23 divided by 20 is a 15% increase. So it is a direct 1-to-1. You gain increased attack speed, you do increase damage. So it's a direct multiplier. Attack speed here is a direct multiplier. Let's make sure that it is not... $24. Yo, what's going on, Miku? Hello, hello, hello. Thank you very much for the raid. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. Hello, everybody. My name is MacroBioBoi. I'm the Necromancer class lead for Max Roll. I got the guns out because it's way too hot around here, and people forget that while I am a very short 5 foot 7.6 inch tall human being, recently measured today at my doctor's, I'm a big boy. Welcome on in. Thank you very much. Can we get a shout out for Miku, please? Hold on. Here, you know what? I'll do it personally. Look at it. Spelled it right first time. Go check out Miku's stream. They've recently joined up with Max Roll, so you're going to be seeing their guides on Max Roll. How much do I weigh? I weigh 178.3 pounds. I say 5'7". I'm 5'7.6 inches tall. Back in the day, so I've been 5'7" my whole life, a little bit above 5'7". And then one day they measured me and they said, I'm 5'8". And then I said, that's not true. And then today they measured me and they're like, oh, you're just under 5'8". I'm like, I already knew that. You made me change my license. Now I'm lying to cops. So if they ever come for me, they're going to be looking for the wrong guy. So I'm not MacroBioBoi 5'8". I'm MacroBioBoi 5'7.6". Calm down. Have you been messing around with the seasonal power stuff? New different combos? Have I been messing around with it? What do you mean? You're at 185, 5'6", but not fat. Big boy. Big boy. Do a Varshan for you? Yeah, what do you got? I can mess around with stuff. I'm over here trying to do math. So 2480 is 24. I have 24%. Okay, so it is not like diminishing. It is just straight 1-to-1. Okay, so now we have to get to 100% attack speed and get more attack speed. Should actually be fairly easy to do. Doing a lot of damage, but you're not sure where it comes from. Do you want me to do with this? What can I do with this? So we are at 39% attack speed. More. I need more attack speed. Four. These have a lot of attack speed. I have 2 GA attack speed? Damn. Attack speed. Hello? God? Hello? It's 55. 55. That's 70. Getting sacrificial would help. Getting another ring would help. Give me a ring I don't care about. I would want lucky hit chance. I guess I should use this ring. We'll use a ring to test. Where else can I get attack speed from? Excuse me. Appreciate you doing the math. Hey, it's my pleasure. But yeah, Miku, if you can like send me whatever setup you're using, I can definitely test it out and see whether or not it's acting in ways you wouldn't expect. You just gotta let me know because I'm just a little guy. The aspect for basic attack speed. Moonrise? Oh, rapid. Rapid. Basic skills gain attack speed. That's not the same thing. For Hand of Nas, is Mage Mastery better or the Shadow damage? The Mage Mastery is the most important stat, typically, yeah. Basic skills being calculated as if you have more attack speed is not the same thing as your character having attack speed. New season? Yes. Does it scale? It might. We can check it out. I don't know how it would, but we can definitely check it out. Overpower damage. Attack speed. Thank you. Okay. Okay. So that gets me up to 78 attack speed. Golem.
still spring.
Sacrificial gets me up to 90. I need 10 more attack speed. Oh, we need to like masterwork these? If we're gonna do this, I mean, the tempering is kind of easy, right? We just need crit. Crit or shadow? No, crit or elemental. 65. Crit and vulner are the same? Sure. Crit, ultimate cooldown.
Unexpected.
Nice.
Anything breaks, the forge is hot.
This one would have to be similar. Although I'm starting to think and roll that's like I'm starting to think about what systems we would use. Might be a bone spirit build.
Not bad. That there is worth.
All right, so we're at 100. We're at 100. We've added on a bunch of intelligence and stuff. And then I need to see what happens when I crit. What are you experimenting with? The Bloodless Scream. So the lucky hit chance effect is something that we have to test out. Not here.
Come back if you need work.
So, no. Accelerating and Rathmas. So, boop, boop. And we put for this, we could do boop, boop, boop. So we're now going to have like a bunch of stuff on. Oh, the question does become, just going over cap do anything? Okay, so let's trigger it. Damn it. 46.1. 46.1. 22. Oh, this is like exactly. Huh. That's also, I'm like very slightly over. So I guess the way we would figure this out is I would do what, this? Okay, we'll do that. $25.6 is the number that we get. That was at 85.5. So if I take 25.6 and I divide this by 1.855, I get 13.8. And if I multiply that by 2, I get up to 27.6. So let's see if putting this back on gets me the 27.6 or a bigger number. How? Wait. Am I stupid? Wait. What? 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 I'm stupid? It's 46.1. Wait, hold on. I have player damage variation. Sorry, I just had to be very stupid. Yo, Burley sells me a 4 GA Bloodless Scream and then comes in and gives subs. Furley, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. I hope that your mom's doing well. She hasn't called me back. Furley, thank you so much. That's incredibly generous of you. Thank you. If you got a gift sub from Furley, give him some love.
You're a real one.
What are we experimenting with? This Bloodless Scream right here, which I was stupid. I was estúpido.
So,
Furley, thank you so much. 25.6. Okay, so wait, hold on.
you subscribe to a bad content creator. You're a real one.
Where did I get 46.1 for? What? How? There's my 46.1. How am I getting different damage numbers? Ooh, what is that? What is that? What is that? What is that? Oh, game. Okay. Let's really look. Paragon, nothing. Okay. Okay, we're all there. Right? We are not detonating. I have points in Hued Flesh. Lucky Hit Chance. Reaper's Pursuit. How am I getting a different damage number? Oh, I crit. That's gonna happen. I don't have a seasonal power set up. Like, you get chance frost damage. It doesn't do frost damage. Nothing about Bloodless Scream does frost damage. So just so that everybody doesn't have to guess so much. The thing that we are testing is the lucky hit chance to do shadow damage. That's specifically what we're looking to trigger. So when I'm sitting here doing, look, it did it. 25. What is the 25.6? Where is this 25.6 coming from? And why is it only with Decompose? So that number, I'm pointing at, the number that comes out right here is the proc damage, because the number that goes above the head is damage over time. The damage that pops out the left is the instance of shadow damage. It's doing 46,100 damage. Why does it sometimes do 25.6? What is the difference between 46... 80%. It's an 80% difference. Hawk, thank you very much for the 10 months. What is doing that? Where am I losing 80% damage? Does it ever happen if I just hold decompose? The damage tax from Furley's mom. It doesn't. I know the answer, I just... Or I believe I know the answer, I just have to prove it. Look at how bad lucky hit chance is, huh? It has to be, so it's server tick rate with abusing the ability to spam click decompose. It's truncating the damage from the proc due to the difference between when the proc is applied and the length of time it has to go to hit the next server tick rate is what I think is happening. It is. It's how far into the tick calculate. Like, the server measures time in ticks. There are 2 ticks per second. If you notice, so if I just hold this, you'll notice I do 1,258 damage per tick, which means that I'm doing 2,516 damage per second. But you'll notice that at the end and right at the beginning, it gives a different number. And if you were to add those 2 numbers together, what you get is if it doesn't apply a different thing, is the total seconds worth of damage. It's not because of the, so Bloodless Scream increases darkness skill damage. The proc from this weapon is not a darkness skill, even if it's triggered by a darkness skill. It actually doesn't benefit from the aspect of the weapon at all, in any way. We literally won't care about that for this build. Unless we build it as Sever, in which case that would help with the Sever damage. But it doesn't help with the proc damage. And we are going to build it as Sever. But the interesting thing, though, is that it is always giving the same number. But this is why I'm only seeing it with Decompose. Okay, so I have to record. I have to record because I'll have to send this to the devs. Okay. Real quick. Devs, what we're looking to test is Bloodless Scream. Bloodless Scream's lucky hit chance to be able to proc shadow damage. Now, if I were to attempt to proc this shadow damage by normal means and get the proc to come out without critting, hopefully, you'll see that our proc, once it goes off, does... This is the problem with dots and lucky hit chance, by the way. But there you go. 46,100 damage. And obviously there's some rounding there because it only shows us 3 digits. But if I were to spam cast Decompose, you'll see that I do 25,600 damage. This is 80% less than the base proc. Nothing else is modifying my damage here. This is only occurring when I am triggering the lucky hit chance with a dot, and it appears to be getting truncated in some way, similar to how your dot damage is truncated, depending on how far it is between when you apply the dot and the next tick of the server. So we are actually getting cheated out of damage very specifically when triggering this with the damage over time effects, depending on how far into the server's tick we've made it. So there I get 25,600. And then if there, it triggering either at the end or the beginning of a server tick, we get the appropriate 46,000. Because if I use anything else you'll see that I always get the 46,000. The interesting part, though, is that once I am permanently channeling Decompose, this phenomena stops happening. I've only ever seen the 46,100 damage proc from it. And I assume the thing that I'm running into is also the bug where spam casting Decompose actually doubles its lucky hit chance over that same second, because these servers, for whatever reason, are reading 2 applications of Decompose, since you're able to trigger this multiple times per second. But there you go. I just want to put that out there. Nobody else is going to run into this issue. But theoretically, this might also be an issue with things like Corpse Explosion or Soul Rift, where if you manage to get this trigger on the first instance of damage, you are just losing out on like nearly half the damage. So I'm not sure how that happens, but I guess that's up for you all to figure out. I'm not the developer. I'm just the guy trying to click the buttons in the dummy room here. Cheers. Okay. So that's interesting. Wild, 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 wild. Decompose bug with the Bloodless. Okay. So now, back to what we were testing, which is I am at 46.1. Let's go ahead and remove the thing. So, if it is a 46.1 divided by 2, and multiply that by 1.855, which is how much attack speed I currently have, I should get 42.75. 42.75. Okay, so the reason for that test was to attempt to determine whether or not going above cap 1 continued to scale the damage of the effect. It does not appear to do so. I would need a larger set of gear to be able to really prove that. But since it rounded to the exact number that I think it should, I don't see it as a problem. Okay, so now that we're there, let's re-drink this. And now let us trigger this. Okay. $58.4. 58.4. Which this is adding 53. So if I take my 46.1, divide that by 2, and then I multiply this by 100, so 2.53. I get 58.4. So cap 2 is also registering. But 58.4 by 46.1. So you're like, oh wow, that's huge. And it is, but that aspect does only represent a 26% increase to raw damage if we do not take into account how much faster we could attack. So I'd have to figure out how much faster I could attack to determine the total multiplier. But at 100% attack speed on Sever, actually, I can actually look at this. So we do attack speed breakpoint. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. What a weird thing. I'm gonna use Sever? Sure. So on 0.9 at 100, we're at the 23 frame breakpoint, and at 23. And if I had a perfect Rathmas, which I'm actually 1% off. Are you serious? I'm 1% off. So I would have to buy Arathmas. I could get down to 18. So to do that math, I always forget if the way I think about this math is accurate. So attacking 5 frames faster. All right, so like, let's just do some math real quick. Boop. Boop. Start and increase. So what up, Hunter? We start at 23, we end at 18. So question mark is 21% versus it is not. So how do I do that? How do I do that math without having to do that? It's just 60 divided by this number and this divided by this number, and then you take the bigger number, you divide it by it. So this is just x is equal to 60 over y divided by 60 over z. It's actually z divided by. Oh. Quick, math people. Math people. Help me. When I'm trying to calculate the increase, when I'm trying to calculate the decrease in frame rate or the decrease in frames per attack to determine the effective increase in damage, I have the faster frames and the slower frames, with the lower number being better. So how do I do an equation that gets to this number without having to take 60 frames per second and divide it by both numbers and then divide them? Like, how do I reduce this equation that you're looking at right here? This one. Where Z is my final frame count per attack and Y is my initial frame count per attack. How do I simplify this equation? Division in the numerator and denominator. Simplify. Which one would you craft first for Shadow Blight, Necro? Air or Shroud? Probably Shroud. Is this true though? Like, obviously we got to the right number. Why? Why is he using decompose? Isn't reap faster? I have to generate resources to use reap, and also reap will trigger accelerating. So I have to simplify the tools that I use to not be able to add additional variables to my testing. This is the part about math that I'm very bad at. It is visualizing the relationship between one equation and the other one. How much damage does attacking faster represent? We'll take the slower attack speed and divide it by the faster attack speed. Why does that get you to the right answer? Does it get you to the right answer? And maybe I'm just wrong? Light years beyond. I appreciate that. I'm not. I just do simple arithmetic a lot. But my brain can't, like, in my head, I can't see why this physically makes sense. I guess it doesn't matter. Just take the bigger number and divide it by the smaller number, and that's the increase. Okay, sure, whatever. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I'm over it. Okay. So it's a 1.27 and it's a 1.27 and a 26. So put those two things together. So this aspect represents a 60% increase in damage. Go back to the basics and remove offensive multipliers from body armor and pants. They should. Absolutely. If every single piece of gear that you're wearing multiplies your damage, you have a problem. That is a problem of itemization. Balas, thank you very much for the follow. So then the question is, Hayuk? Question is, Hayuk?
So,
do you trigger this often enough?
you subscribe to a bad content creator.
This is why I wanted...
You're a real one.
Children, thank you very much for the new Twitch Prime. Welcome on in. Enjoy your no ads. Enjoy your emotes. Excuse me. $30. What does 30 represent? So we could do the math. 46.1 divided by 2 multiplied by 1.3. 2.3. That's 53. 50p divided by 46.1. It's only a 15% damage multiplier, but it's also 3 frames. It's equal to a 1.15 multiplied by 1.15. So it's a 32% damage multiplier. Okay. So yes, CD, and that's how I got my answer. But you can simplify it since it is division with the same. So it's division where the answer is coming from doing division with a variable and you know, like and a static number. So you can simplify the equation by removing the static number. And the answer is, when you do that and flip it, what you just get is the old number divided by the new number. And that's equivalent to doing the math of attacks per second divided by each other. What is the reasoning for breaking everything down like this? What is the reasoning? To understand it and to optimize it. I'm a little bit confused by the question. I assume there's more depth to this question. Patch the mage is not getting the extra damage yet. They have not. No, you would have seen a patch if it was a patch. Like, it would have downloaded to your client. So the question is, do I really want to get above 100% attack speed? Or are there easier ways for me to accomplish this? What's the verdict on? What up, play boy? What did it do, boo-boo? What's the verdict on it? We're an hour and a half into testing. I haven't even finished determining how it calculates its base damage. That's the verdict. For Necro. Enhanced Reap. Paranormal Bloodless. Bloodless might end up being my best system. Bone Storm. Oh, Bone Storm becomes very interesting. Cosmic Anomaly. Okay. Cosmic Anomaly. Oh, also, does Cosmic Anomaly trigger this? Begin. Cosmic Anomaly. Go. Cosmic Anomaly. They do. They're only doing 25.6 though. Oh. Huh. The mage attack does not engage with men down. It's not actually them attacking faster. It's that when their projectile is produced, it produces multiple projectiles. Yes, Jonas, it does. This is only triggering 25.6. That's crazy work. An addendum to the previous video I've submitted with this. Cosmic Anomalies dot damage is only ever triggering this at the 80% reduction, so the 25,600 damage, as opposed to the total damage, which is 46,100, just to have that on camera as well. That is triggering for Cosmic Anomaly. When it triggers from my Decompose, we should see 46.1. Eventually? Well, that was with a crit. There we go. The 46.1 is my trigger, as opposed to the Anomalies trigger. Bloodless bug, but with Cosmic Anomaly. What about other effects? Ooh. Oh, this might be a problem for everybody. Did I take into account the explosion from creating corpses? I do not have that selected, so I do not have to take that into account. So it's all... What is up with that? Is this all effects? Is this just Bloodless Scream? $16.3. Well, that was 16.3. And then what about this? $7,422. Wait, that's actually wild. Hold on. $7,422. Right. Hold on. $16.3. Let's do the math. So expected damage at my attack speed. Okay. So, okay, hold on. Seasonal Gem Willbreaker work with Mendeln? It does. Yes. Hey, I'm gonna run to the bathroom real quick. I'll run ads now, but we need to calculate this and figure out why this is happening. Oh no! Oh no, I found it debugs. All right, I will be right back. Ads already ran on Twitch. Thank you. Also, if you're watching on YouTube and if you wouldn't mind, there's nearly 100 of you. First off, insane. Thank you so much for being here. Y'all are beautiful. And you're definitely, don't tell us to Twitch, but you might be my favorite ones. Don't tell anybody. But if you wouldn't mind liking the stream, that would help me out a ton. I would really appreciate that. So I'll be right back. Leave the music running. BRB. Oh, also, and YouTube, stop listening. Twitch, I was lying. Don't worry. You're my favorite, okay? Don't listen to the haters. I'll be right back. I've returned. Running 14 mages, but I seen a video guy running 24 mages. Do you know how he was doing that? That's a bug. You can't have 24 mages. Shadowblight is not good for AoE damage and speed farming because you have to ramp damage and set up multiple damage instances per target. Okay, so let's calculate how much damage I should be doing. 10, 1, 2, 5. So item says 10, 1, 2, 5 is equal to this multiplied by 0.85 for damage reduction. No. Is equal to this multiplied by 0.15 for damage reduction. We have, well, we had 100% damage bonus, so equal to this multiplied by 2. How much intelligence do I have? 103.2. There's cold damage. I think that's my only additive damage that's relevant. Oh. So how do I get to 16.3? How is that possible? Also, where'd music go? There we go. How do I get to that damage number?